And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you really doing this? Chess is supposed to be a game for gentlemen, but unfortunately, not all chess players act like gentlemen. There's one type of player that I hate almost as much as a cheater, and that's the disrespectful player. In my opinion, there are two kinds of disrespect in chess. One happens right on the chessboard, and the other one happens off the board. This is the story of an opponent who managed to do both. This happened a few days ago when I was playing some rapid games on chess.com, and I got paired against this player from Barbados. At least that's what the profile says, so if that's true, well, good for him. By the way, I say him, but I might be wrong. I mean, I cannot see the profile picture clearly. But anyway, I got black pieces, and he started with 1 e4. I respond with 1 e5, and he goes for queen h5 on the second move, the so-called wayward queen attack. And honestly, this is already kind of disrespectful. In chess, especially in the opening, some moves are good and some moves are just not. For me, a bad move is either a move that already gives an advantage to your opponent. I'm sure you've all seen Magnus Carlsen starting a game with 1a3 or 1h3. Well, that's the case. Or it's a move that goes for a chip trick. So it's an opening trap that is not really sound, but you play it anyway, hoping that your opponent is going to fall for it. In both cases, you're not taking the game seriously, and most importantly, you're basically underestimating your opponent, thing that you should never do. Unless you're Magnus Carlsen. Well, in that case, you do know your opponent is weaker than you, but still. Here, my opponent is clearly going for a scholarsmate, a four-move checkmate that only a beginner would fall for. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're just starting out, then it's totally fine to try it. We have all been there. But trying it against a 1700 ready player, well, it's bold, to say the least, and it deserves to be punished. So let's get into the game. If you're not familiar with the scholarsmate, I will show you how to deal with it and even how to punish it. And if you already know, well, stick around because things are going to get very juicy very soon. So playing queen h5 on move 2 is a very aggressive choice because my opponent is already attacking f7. Now f7, just as f2 for white, is the weakest point in black's army because it's defended only by the king. Now, the reason why my opponent played queen h5 is because they intend to play another move, we are going to say it now, which is bishop c4. Now look at this coordination on f7. And if I don't play carefully, my opponent is going to play queen takes f7 and checkmate me because this pawn is defended only by my king, right? But my king cannot take the queen because it's supported by the bishop. So this is the basic idea behind the scholarsmate. And let's see all the things that can go wrong, and then we're going to see how to avoid them. So first of all, this is an important move, knight c6, because as black, you already want to defend the e5 pawn. Because this pawn on e5 is already being attacked by the king, right? By the queen, sorry. So white's queen is not only seeing the f7 square, but is already attacking the pawn. So we gotta defend it, because just imagine that if you don't defend it, then this is a common mistake among beginners, absolute beginners, I would say, that they attack the queen, but look at here, the bar got completely white because now white has this strong move. Queen takes e5, check, and has not only won a pawn that we left hanging, but is now forking the king and the rook, because with g6 we weaken this diagonal. So I will need to defend my king, which is under check, and white has just won a pawn and a rook. So when you see queen h5, please never play g6. This is a huge blunder. What you want to do is defend this pawn first. You don't need to hurry. You're going to worry about the attack on f7 later. First thing, knight c6. And that's the best move for black. Now, as I said, my opponent wanted to go for this four-move checkmate, and he plays exactly bishop c4. Now, there is this coordination on f7, and here it's vital for black to kick away the queen right now with g6. Now the trick doesn't work anymore, right? That fork, because my knight is defending c6. So now this is the right move. And please pay attention. It's very important to kick away the queen with g6 and not with knight f6. Maybe some of you might think, okay, I develop the knight and attack the queen, right? Well, no, because knight f6 doesn't defend this square. And here, that's exactly what happens. Queen takes f7, checkmate. So we managed to let white win in 4 moves. And we really want to avoid that, of course. So what do? We don't develop the knight, we push g6. Now we kick white's queen away, and now this pawn, was defended, right? So this is basically what you got to remember. So, until now about the how to play against the scholarsmate, right? So the opponent brings out the queen, and you already defend this pawn. It's very important. You got to play knight c6. And now they bring out the bishop, they coordinate this attack, and you want to kick away the king, the queen, not with the knight, but with this pawn. By the way, if, sometimes white can go also for this scholarsmate, but first they develop the bishop, bishop c4 on move 2, this is the bishop's opening. And what I like to do against it, it's already developing the knight to c6 and preventing, defending the e5 pawn already, before the threat is going to be there. It's a good move, and also if white plays the bishop's opening, usually this is not super common because people tend to go with knight f6 against the bishop's opening. This is the Berlin defense, but anyway, in that case, you play knight c6, and white can, choose this other move order, but basically the position transposes into what we just saw in the game. So going back to the right order that we saw, queen h5, knight c6, bishop c4, I attack the queen and I kick it away. Now, my opponent is very aggressive and very, optimistic also, because he really thinks that I'm going to fall for it. And now this queen, when the white moves it to queen to f3, is basically renovating the threat of checkmate, because it's attacking f7 from this other square. And now you can block it developing the knight f6. Now, this is the way. And at this point, all the threats that white wanted to throw at us are just vanished, because there's nothing else they can do. And the checkmate has been avoided, and the opponent has been moving the queen around while we have developed our pieces, and we also created this square for the bishop that we're going to fianchetto, we're going to defend, develop on g7. So we are playing very well. And by the way, just to show you that this is the right way and white shouldn't go for this cheap tricks, look at the position right now. I know it's the engine evaluating the position, so it's not that important, but still, white, when white needs to start on move 1, white has an advantage, right? Has a slight advantage because it is the player that's going to move first, right? So look at here, it's plus 0.38. So the bar says that white has the advantage. And white, if, theoretically speaking, they should play strong moves that aim at making this advantage bigger and bigger. And black, on the other side, tries to push this advantage back and to equalize the position. But here with these moves, on move 4, knight f6. Now let's go here, knight f6, look at the position. It's already minus 0.20, 31 for black. So white has given away the advantage, and now black has the slight advantage. But what for, this is why going for these cheap tricks is wrong. I mean, in the best case scenario, okay, you win in 4 moves. But in the worst case scenario, you are just starting out with the wrong foot. And don't do that. So now I want to show you guys what white can play at this point after knight f6, and then we're going to see what the opponent did. So usually some players might just want to develop, this bishop, so they open this diagonal, but here black can already strike back, right? So white was very aggressive, black defended properly, and now it's time to punish white. How do we do that? This move is very strong, knight d4. Now, already look, it's -1, because this knight is attacking the queen that arrived on f3, right? And at the same time is attacking c2. But, so this is a fork, but this square c2 is very important, because from here, if the knight lands there, there's going to be this other fork, forking the king and the rook, and white is going to lose the rook. So basically, with this knight d4, we are throwing like a fork in a fork, or a squared fork, I don't know, call it however you want it, but it's a very strong move. And now white must defend this square, while of course moving the queen to safety, with queen d1. So this is the right move for black, but for white, and now black already has a big advantage, because has developed the pieces, 2 pieces developed, the bishop is going to be developed here, it's going to castle soon, and has a strong knight on d4. Yeah, okay, can be kicked away, but it's okay. It's really good. I mean, if you start out with this position as black on move 5, that's I wish all my games were like that, really. So this is if white understands these threats, of course, and goes back. But a lot of times, especially at a lower level, you're gonna see some very bad move. Like, first of all, they move the queen to g3, for example. They move the queen to safety, but they fall for the other fork, right? We said it was a fork and a fork, and now they need to move the king, and black has taken the rook. Now this knight is probably going to be like trapped, and we're going to lose it anyway, but still, we just won the exchange, right? We gave up a knight for a rook, so that's great. Look at the bar here. Or sometimes the opponent might just move the queen here. This is the best case scenario. I loved it when it happened back in the days when I was when my rating was lower, and this happened often, because now there is a triple fork, but the best thing is that it's a royal fork. So look at this. Now the knight is attacking the king and the queen. The king must move, I don't know, queen e2, and you win the queen. So white wanted to move the queen, move the queen too early, and now they lost it. I love when this happens. Anyway, it's not always, that good, but yeah, consider this move, knight d4. When something like this happens, like when they play something like d3, or, any move. Of course, if they play c3, please don't do that, because you're gonna hang your knight. But yeah, other than d3, now in a moment we're gonna see what is the best move for white here. But sometimes if you are playing against an extremely aggressive player, they're gonna go for this other move, queen b3. And this is when you can really punish them. Because, okay, white is being like, okay, I move my queen, once again, not respecting the principle of the opening, and they are creating this battery attacking directly f7, right? Again, and here, once again, you play knight d4. You gotta keep calm and just let white lose the game, really. Because now, with this knight move, you're attacking the queen. And if white attacks, takes the pawn and attack my king, okay, bishop takes f7, check, keep calm, no worries, king e7, and now you are, after defending yourself, you're basically throwing a double attack on white, because white, what is happening? Your knight on d4 is attacking the queen, and now your king is attacking the bishop. So it's a double attack, and white needs to keep the queen on this diagonal to defend the bishop, right? They need to keep the contact with the bishop. But now where will they move the queen, right? Here they can't, because it's going to be taken by the knight, sorry. And here they can't, because it's going to be taken by the pawn. So the only square left is queen c4. Okay, they save the queen, but wait a second. now comes b5. And you attack the queen once again. They need to move it, and it cannot stay anymore on this diagonal. So you are decoying the queen, you're deflecting actually the queen away from the diagonal, and after, I don't know, queen d3, you take the free bishop, and look at here, like king takes f7, you are minus 3.1 for black. This is lovely. And this is how to punish black. So keep in mind, guys, this move, knight d4. And it has this double threat, like the fork in the fork line. And it also works if the opponent goes for the line with, as we saw, queen b3 to create this battery, right? So basically what white needs to do now is to prevent this move. And that's what my opponent did, actually. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please like and subscribe to support the channel. For you, it's free, but it would really mean a lot to me. All right, back to the game. So, you know, he plays well. He's a 17. I mean, we're all very bad players, don't get me wrong. But he knows some stuff. He knows his way around chess, that he has 1700 rating. So he just wanted to finish the game very early, disrespecting me and underestimating me. But on his side, he's playing like good moves. So now, what do we do when the opponent is actually being aggressive, but not overly aggressive to the point that they mess up and they make a mistake? So you punish this kind of player by playing solid moves. You know, if some openings are not sound, if some openings are not played by the best players, it means that they're not good for one reason or another. So the best way to play against them is like to grind them out and keep playing good moves, not making mistakes, and building up slowly but steadily an advantage. And this is what it's happening here. So, okay, they develop the knight properly, and they prevent this knight d4 move. That makes sense. So I go on. I push my pawn. I don't want to rush to develop my bishop here, to check out the bishop and the castle, because I prefer doing other attacks first. There is no imminent threat right now because I covered everything. So I push this pawn d6, to open this diagonal for my bishop, and I wanted to skewer the bishop, attacking the queen, of course, and attacking the knight, and also, you know, like, so starting to, you know, attacking my the queen that was brought out too early. And my opponent, of course, sees it. He played the best move, like h3, preventing this. And now I'm like, okay, I open this diagonal, but let's wait, and I develop my bishop, and let's see what happens. Now my opponent wants to do the same, so he opens up the diagonal for their bishop, and now I should castle, I know, but you know, when the center is closed like this, there is, you know, everything is under control. If you make sure that everything is under control, you can slightly postpone castling. And in this case, I wanted to, you know, like surf the wave of like this, like small advantage that I built up. And I wanted to, you know, now strike back against white. So I'm like, okay, let's play a6. I want to attack the bishop, and I want to take some space on the queen side. My opponent develops the knight. So of course you gotta be attentive on what you're playing. I play b5, so I attack the bishop, and he plays bishop b3. So of course he needs to retreat the bishop. And now I play knight a5. I really want to take this bishop because then I'm gonna have the bishop pair. And this is a very strong bishop, you know, like on this diagonal. It's quite nasty for me, so I want to get rid of it and then like play chess. So my opponent goes for bishop g5. So it's attacking my knight. This knight was already under attack by the queen, right? So as you should do when the opponent like moves the bishop to you know, g5 or g4 and pins the knight, you interrogate the bishop. So what you want to do with that? And I play h6, asking what he's about to do. And he just trades the bishop, okay, for the knight. I'm happy about that, totally happy. And I play bishop takes f6. Great. So now I already have the bishop pair, and let's see what happens. Now my opponent plays knight d5. Now this move is a very good move, I gotta say, because you move a knight to the center, and now he's attacking my bishop. this bishop, if you see, it's attacked twice, and it's defended only once. So I need to do something about it because I'm going to lose it, right? But at the same time, I need to, so, you know, the right move would be just to move it back. That's what I played. But wait a second. What my opponent had in mind with this move, which is very strong, is that then he moves, you know, so this bishop is saved, we said, right? Because now it's not under attack anymore. But he wanted to move this knight away and throw a double attack. What double attack? He is renovating, actually, once again, his attack on f7, and he's threatening checkmate. That's what he played, you know, like I played knight g7, and he moved the knight, bishop g7, and he moved the knight out of the way. So with this knight, he's attacking the rook, he's attacking the bishop, of course he's gonna take the rook, and at the same time, it looks like I'm lost, right? Because there is this checkmate threat. So what shall I do? If I castle, I guess that's the line that he saw. If I castle here to prevent checkmate, he just, look at the bar, you know how it changes, he just takes the free rook. And that would be like a very good line for him, of course. But after knight d5, I was like, okay, Alex, take your time and really consider what's going on. And is it, you know, like I saw this threat and I was like, okay, shall I just like hang a bishop? Because maybe, you know, you lose the bishop and it's better than losing the rook. And so I was calculating here. And then I played bishop g7. Now, look at the time right now. After knight d5, I had 8 minutes and 50, and then 7 minutes and 39. So I played, I thought, I calculated and was considering what to do for 1 minute and 10 seconds. So in critical positions, you really got to use your time wisely and being like, okay, what is the best move? What is really happening? And what happens if they play that, and so on. So don't rush and don't react. Don't play reactively. Really consider everything. And that's what my opponent didn't do, because he was very aggressively since the very beginning, since move 2, literally. And he still has like 9 minutes and 31. Okay. But as I said, how do we punish this kind of opponents? Just play solid chess. He goes for this line, but I'm like, wait a second. I don't need, that's what I calculated, I don't need to castle to save myself. I can just take their bishop. And that's what I play. So look at here, after calculating all the lines, now from 7:39, I just double check again what was going on. I was like, wait, he did it as well? I did it for real? So I was just doubting myself, and I'm like, okay, he's either made a huge blunder or I missed something. So I double check and I was like, okay, I think I'm really winning this. And now I take this and look at this. I took the bishop, and now this knight was hanging, right? Because to do this discovered attack, he moved it to b6, where it's going to be captured by the pawn. And now my knight, at the same time, after attacking the bishop, is attacking their rook. So, I mean, look at the bar, minus 3.88, and we are at move 13. He wanted to end the game very early, and actually we're going to do that, but not as he hoped. He takes the rook, and I'm like, okay, let's go for this line. Knight takes a1. I'm already up a piece. Can you see? Like, he took the knight and a rook, and I took the bishop, and a rook. So he moves the knight here, and I take c7 check. That's like a desperado, because I take also the knight. Now I'm up 2 pieces. You know, my opponent is totally lost, and there's nothing they can do. You know, the position is heavily compromised, and it's also this knight is here, but I can save it. And here the opponent plays king d2. Now, the best move, I mean, again, the position is totally compromised, but he should have, like, you know, like castled and just let me move the knight, and then he could, you know, like this, and then you can at least pin the knight, right? That's the right continuation. But my opponent was really in a hurry. I don't know why. Like, it's a rapid game. You have 10 minutes, not 1 minute. You're not playing like bullet chess. So he wanted to play, and he played king d2. And I was like, okay, great. Now I take the other pawn, and I give you a check. Queen takes c2 check. And he goes, now, of course, he needs to move the king to e3, because if he moves here, then there is this line, you know, queen b1 check. He needs to move it, and that's a skewer and a win, also the rook. So going back, that's why he had to move here. But from here now, I can slide back the queen to c5. That's what I did. Queen c5 check. He moves it again here. I don't know if he thought that I would go for a repetition and maybe draw it like that. I have no idea, but of course I'm not going to repeat the moves. Queen b4 check. I attack the king and also this pawn. And my opponent wanted to interpose the king. I mean, I understand, like, I think it should have like moved the king to c1, like at least defending this somehow. Because, of course, like moving it here, it's a huge mistake because there is checkmate, a very nice checkmate, like these two squares are controlled by the pawn. This is controlled by my queen, and then there is this knight checkmate. Lovely. But it didn't go like that. So he didn't move the king away to c1, defending this. He wanted to interpose the knight, giving me the pawn that, of course, I took with check. Queen takes b2 check. He moves it away, and now, of course, after taking the pawn, the king must, move away, and he's gonna lose contact with this knight. So, of course, that's a good move, but then I saw this. A much better move, because look at here, knight c2 check, and now the king must move, right? But as we said, it can move here, so he has only two options, either king e2 or king d2. But after they make this move, I have the beautiful knight d4 check. It's a discovered check because my queen is attacking the king, of course, but at the same time this knight is attacking their queen. So of course the same thing happens if they moved the king to e2. Actually, this is also like a double check because the king is in check because of my knight and the queen, and this knight is throwing a royal fork. So they totally lost also the queen, and they're going to be left with what? A knight that I will capture also after that, and a rook, while I have, basically my entire army. Not my entire army, but still a huge crushing advantage. So yeah, so he plays queen e3, and I play knight c2 check. And wait, let me show you. Yeah, timeout. I won on timeout after this move, but by the way, like the accuracy, like my opponent played with 80.5% of accuracy, and I played with 95.2, because yeah, as I said, like black managed like playing solidly to get the slight advantage, and then it went on playing solidly, keeping the advantage until white collapsed it and blundered. And also, yeah, the middle game, yeah, there is like this blunder. He played it with blunders, and it was very bad. The rating is like 2050 for him, the game rating. For me, it's 2350. But yeah, that's not how you should play chess at this level, at least. And yeah, anyway, what I wanted to show you is this icon here. So basically, my opponent, instead of resigning while being crushed, just let the clock run out. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you really doing this? I mean, look at here, 8 minutes and 43 seconds. He kept me waiting for 8 full minutes, actually like almost 9. This is outrageous. And that brings us to the second kind of disrespect, the one that happens off the chessboard. Letting the clock run out instead of resigning when you are in a dead loss position is extremely disrespectful. If your opponent has outplayed you, just acknowledge it and resign. This is something that really drives me crazy. I can't accept it. Just can't. I mean, I would expect this kind of behavior from a child, just because a child hasn't learned yet how to behave. But otherwise, it's just outrageous. So, dear player from Barbados, I really hope you're 5 years old. Otherwise, that's just embarrassing. But hey, this game of ours actually inspired this video. So, in a way, thank you, I guess. But seriously, guys, please don't do that. Lose the game with dignity instead of losing the dignity with the game. By the way, if you enjoyed this kind of game analysis of mine, where I don't only show the moves, but also talk about other aspects that revolve around chess, then you should definitely check out my last video. Something crazy happened in an over-the-board game that I played a while ago. If you're curious, you'll find it on the end screen of this video. So going back to my disrespectful opponent, there are actually many ways people can be disrespectful off the chessboard, both online and over the board. Things like refusing to shake hands after losing a game, or spamming messages in the chat just to distract your opponent, and many more. Unfortunately, if you play chess long enough, you're gonna run into players like this sooner or later. I'm sure you all have had your own experiences, and I would love to hear them. What's the most disrespectful player you ever faced? Let me know in the comments. Maybe we will all feel a bit better knowing that we are not the only ones who have dealt with this.